How's the view from up there? I don't know. Just doing a little test. Hi guys, I'm so excited for this video. I've been wanting to make it. I've been postponing, I've been procrastinating, I've been busy, I've been not in the mood, I've been not feeling up to it. But now there's been some developments and it's time to talk. So I'm gonna spill the tea per se. But by the way, if you hear any background noise, that's either my new neighbors downstairs doing some music stuff, or that's the snowstorm raging on outside. So yeah, it's a cozy time and we're just gonna do a little chit chat. So welcome to my office. This is not my table, but my desk in the kitchen. Yes, I know the setup, the design is a little offbeat, but that's okay. But anyway, so this is basically, here, I have to pull it up because I forgot what I want to call the video. Maybe. What I've learned in all my dating so far. So yeah, let's just get into my history, my past, my background with dating. And this is kind of like tips and tricks and red flags and being wise, being smart, being safe, that kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, so my experience, I was not allowed to date until I was 16 plus. And my first boyfriend, I was just shy of a few months of being 18 years old. And in the Mormon church, you have to be 16. That's the youngest you can be in order to date. And it's just casually, they don't like you to quote steady date until you're like 18 plus, like marriage age. You know, oh, there's birds outside. I hope they can fly okay in the snowstorm. But anyway, so, and we're going, right? I'd be so pissed off if we were not. Nice, okay. I'll try to keep this at a half hour, but I like talking, I know, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not gonna apologize, okay? The gift of gab is a good thing. But anyway, but yeah, so Mormons, you know, 16 is dating, 18 plus is marriage age, you know? And so I didn't really casually date. I've never dated a Mormon in my life. I mean, I've been on like one date, it was like for a dance, or a few in high school, I guess, if I think back. But I've never dated, like steady dated or more than casually. And that's just me. I don't want to get married in the church. I don't want to marry a Mormon. Even if they were a Mormon, I'd prefer if they've never been a Mormon, my future partner or spouse or whoever I meet and marry. But anyway, so now jump to just before I was 18. There was this guy talking to me over the summer, and I was just shy, naive, inexperienced, uncertain, not wise or careful or safe or smart or anything. And I was just like, yep, he's interested, he's into me. And so I'm like, I'm gonna snatch him up. So I became very obsessive over him, and he was into weed. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want to look for and find and hope for. And so now I steer clear of people who smoke cigars, cigarettes, or weed. I just don't want any smoking involved. Not in my life anyway. And so he was all kinds of abusive and he was manipulative, and there's just a lot of sex and there's rape involved. There was just a lot of abuse and assault, and the sex was just very often, and I just felt used and misused. This was my first relationship, or supposedly like relationship, and it was an abusive one, and I thought this is how they all are. I couldn't compare it to anything. I couldn't compare and contrast this one to a past one, a previous one that I've had, because this was the only one I've ever known. And so he was just bad news. We were on and off for like 2 years, and then Tinder happened. So after this guy's out of my life for good, I actually cheated on him on someone else that I met on Tinder. I met him on Facebook. He was the one who sent me the message first. And anyway, Tinder, first of all, before I go on, I gotta address, okay? It's wrong to cheat on someone. This person hurt me so severely and so badly that I tried to, I don't want to say that I justified it, but I kind of did in my head. I was like, I want to hurt him back. So the way that I ended things for good was telling him that I cheated on him. Not my best light at all, and that's really wrong of me. I don't think it's wise to cheat. I don't think it's fair to cheat. It's just very cruel to me, and I would never cheat on anyone ever again. But that relationship was so toxic and tarnished and tainted that I wanted to hurt him bad. And that sounds really mean, but that was just my past me. Spilling the tea, as I said. And so then I go onto Tinder for the first time. And I have people in my life around me who have met their spouses on Tinder. My cousin, my sister, I know of other people. And it's seen as like the hookup culture vibe type of app. And Tinder, I tried a few dates, and they were all one-night stands. And just a few of them. and I just felt so used and broken, and I was trying to get my body back. It's funny, one guy was a guy from high school who I matched with, and well, we actually still talk every now and again today. He's a really good guy, and he's a good guy friend. And it's just funny because we knew of each other in high school, but we never really talked that much. And then on Tinder, we matched up, and then we met. So that was interesting. And then in high school, there was this one guy who was very much interested, but I kind of turned him down at first. And then I saw after him again, like as time went on, and same thing, nothing but sex. And then you skip to 2018. I graduated in 2016, June of 2016 high school. And then I was an online college student for a time. And then 2018 happens. And this was where I was at when I met my last ex. And I say my last ex because I have been casually dating and not everything has worked out. But like my last more like serious long-term boyfriend, now ex. But I was in a relationship. It was a mess. It was an open relationship, and at the time I was trying to get my previous ex back, the one who was the high school boy. And he was like a super senior, maybe a super duper senior, where he was held back like twice. I was just all kinds of crazy, and I'm going to get into this, but you don't have to say yes to everyone who shows they're interested. Like, you don't have to. And I've learned that the hard way. But I was trying to get him back. I was sleeping with him like every week when I was available, when I was not at work. Like, I was desperate to get him back, to get his attention, his love back. And just a mess. And all of these were done in not closed doors, or I don't want to say that, but done like hush hush. Like, my parents didn't know that I was dating at the time. They just thought I was single, but I was at home and I was just being sneaky and I was just really unhappy. And then my ex, I cannot talk, words are hard today. He reaches out to me on Facebook, and this was at a time in 2018. I would send a request to anyone, and I would accept from anyone. Like, I was friends with people from the local area, and I just didn't care. And so he hit me up one day, and we're talking, and he wanted a serious relationship. And this was when I was in an open relationship trying to get my ex back. So in the open relationship part, the guy was from out east, never met him. He was 30, I was 20, and there was a 10-year age gap with my ex. We were 6 years apart, and nothing wrong with that, that's fine. But it's just trying to paint the picture for you, okay? And so I'm interested in this guy. He's attractive, brown beard, brown hair, brown eyes, dreamy brown eyes like chocolate, and so warm. I love brown eyes on guys. But anyway, so then I'm like, we should meet up. And so we meet at church. I thought that was a safe place because it was a place where there's a lot of people around in case there was any danger, any problems, right? You want to be safe. And with my Tinder history, I was like sneaking out at night, not very safe. So I wanted to redeem myself a little bit. And so we met at church, and I wanted him to meet my parents right away. And so that's how we met. And so we met under false pretenses, if that's the word. In a sense, like, we knew each other, but my parents thought that we met there for the first time, and they thought he was more interested in me than the church. They supposed that because he was at church, he was interested in the church. And so then we just spiral, and we fall in love, and I don't say spiral as in it's bad that we fell in love, but just like the sneaky aspect. And my parents didn't want us to date, and they didn't like that he was not a member of the church, that he smoked, and that there was the age gap. And so they saw those things as the red flags, and I just saw him as a great person, and I love him. And I still do. My heart is still with him, which is crazy. I know it's absurd. But some people are just so hard to let go, and it's so hard to move on sometimes. So that's been the story. On and off since 2018, and when I moved from Washington to Idaho in 2019, we tried long distance for a year, then we were on a break after that. And then it was on and off after that. And then I told him that I couldn't anymore just before I graduated. A little before that, I had just seen him. And I just said, I'm not ready. I need more time. And I'm not mature enough. And I need to live on my own first. And now here I am in my beautiful apartment as of last October. And my timeline is different than other people's. I'm 26 and I just moved out a few months ago. And I've just been learning how to adult and be a big girl and take care of myself and be more independent. And I've learned so much in the past few months. I've just been crazy good. And he just had a different timeline. And so I had to end things before school ended because I was like, I can't move back to Washington. I need to live on my own first, and I'm not like there enough. Like, sorry, I'm not sick. I don't think I am, but like, and I'm also not crying. But anyway, um, so where I'm going with this, I just need time to grow up to be a big girl. And so that happened, and then I get a happy birthday text from him, and then we talk after I graduate. He sends me this big old thing, and it's just explaining how much he still cares. So my heart has been mended, only broken again, you know, with all that. And so then we talk on and off a little bit. Then in the spring, we try to get back together, kind of. And I say that I'm going to move back, and he gives me this as my last chance. And it was an ultimatum, and then I get really, really sick in June. And I talked about this. I went psychotic. I was getting off of my meds, and I lost weight. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't well. I was throwing everything up. I was just sick. It's the worst I've ever felt, the worst I've ever been, the worst illness I've ever had in my whole entire life. And I've been psychotic one time before in 2017. And it's interesting the pattern that I look at this. I didn't say this, but I'll say it now. But I was trying to get back in a relationship with an abusive ex, the first one, the first boyfriend. Granted, there was a gay Catholic involved. I say this so strangely. I think he's gay. I don't know. This was a high school boyfriend. He was a junior when I was a senior, and we dated for a few months. And good guy. He's great. It's just didn't work out. And that's a little thing to note, a little side note. But anyway, I was trying to get back with my abusive ex when I went to college in 2017. It was April, it was spring of 2017, and I went psycho. I got too much anxiety at school. It was my first time being away from home, and I just blew up, and I got sick. And so it's interesting, the pattern history can repeat itself, and I was right back where I started. I was psychotic in a relationship that probably wasn't going to work, and I was denying that it was not going to work. So let me get into a few more things. I have some notes here, my handy dandy notes app actually. But let me say this. Just now today, and today is March 2nd, I unfriended and deleted people off of Tinder. Like, I matched with them. On my Snap, I unfriended them. And it felt so good. Just to have a clean slate, fresh start with new eyes and new mindset. Like, if people are not going to mesh well, if you know we're not going to work out, like, just drop the contact. It's one less thing to worry about, and it feels so, so good. And I wondered how long I've been talking, probably for too long. Oh, only 12 minutes. That was the story of my romantic history, and only took like 12 minutes. Wow. Okay. So when you're in a relationship, you're hoping to God that it's going to work out. You really are. Maybe you do or do not believe in God or those things, but you're just hoping and praying that it's going to work out. You put your heart and soul in it if you're a good person. Like, you really care about the person and you're genuine and honest and true. But sometimes you just have to understand it just might not work out, and that's okay. And then something else I wanted to say, and it's so corny and cheesy, I know, but it's the smile because it happened. I know that sounds so stupid, but it's an honest quote, and I love it. Like, don't be sad that it's over, just smile that it happened. But it's so true. It's so true. You don't have to carry on those people throughout the rest of your days, throughout your whole entire life. Like, you can move on from people. You can move past things. It's possible to do that. And some of these thoughts are kind of scattered, so I'll try to organize them the best I can. But there's that. And let me say this, because this will feed into these other things I want to get at. So I talked about my dating history a little bit. Lost my virginity when I was 18. I don't know if I said that, but that was the abusive ex, the one who loved sex, who was like crazy about sex. He was very pervy. But here's the thing. A part of why I'm wanting to make this video, and he watches my videos sometimes, I guess, so hi if you're here. It's kind of awkward and embarrassing, but okay. It's my content, so I'm going to say what I want to say. But he came back into my life. We've talked very briefly since I've been sick, like on and off here and there. Since I got well again at the end of the summer and at the start of the fall, that was when I really started to pick myself back up and get well again. Because I got really, really sick last June. it was so good to see him. I saw him. He reached out to me. He was here for work. He was passing through. He was in the area. And it felt so good. It was like closure that I never got, that I really, really, really needed. And it made me think, like, it's okay. It's okay if you're not meant to be. If you're not meant to be, that's meant to be too. You know, like, it's such a thing. And maybe he just wanted the sex. And I'm okay with casual sex. I've been on Tinder. I've been back on Tinder since November 2017 to 2024. Like, wow. Or I guess 2023, last November was the year 2023. But that's a big gap. And the gap was my ex. And now, since we broke up and everything, and it's official and officially done and over, like, I feel like I can date again and I can move past everything and just move on. And seeing him again was even more closure. It opened the wound a little bit, but now I feel like I'm more healed, and now I feel the closure, the sense that, okay, it's done. He doesn't want to get back together, and I would be okay if we did. But at the same time, I've looked at red flags, I've looked at things, and we're just not a match. We're just not able to mesh well the way that we would have hoped. And because he was in Washington and I was in Idaho, it's just not what we would have thought. Probably, odds are, almost guarantee that it's not what we would have pictured for ourselves, because the long distance was so long, and because we were so on and off so oftentimes, like, we just probably maybe wouldn't have worked, because we didn't know each other as well as we would have. Like, we knew each other over the phone and over text really well, but we hadn't spent like days at a time with the other person, like, to really get to know them. So that was really, really hard. That was a hard pill to swallow. Like, wow, we might not work because we've never really been able to hang out that much, you know? And in the time span, like, I went to see him 3 times. He came to see me once. Well, now twice. Well, technically, I don't know what his last name was. But anyway. So that kind of paints a picture. And just going off of that, like, if he had proposed, I would have said yes. If he would have proposed after the first year, I would have said yes. If he would have proposed the last time we saw him, I probably would have said yes, because my head was spinning and my heart was hurting. Like, I was too invested in the relationship or the friendship that we now are. You know, like, I still love him that much. Like, even despite the red flags. I have red flags in me, and that's another thing I want to say. People have red flags. It's just when they add up and build up to be so big, you can't take it, that's a sign that you're not to be with the person. Nothing wrong with that. It just means you're not compatible. You're not meant to be. And I've been very naive in my friendships with guy friends, my relationships. Like, I've been very naive, and I've been very unsafe and in an unwell emotional headspace. And I feel like I've matured a lot. And I made a Hinge account. I'm wanting to be more intentional about it, where I'm looking for a long-term partner and not so much fun. I did, and I'm still going to keep contact with them for a time anyway. There's just a few people who I met off of Tinder that I still like. There's 2 that I'm going to continue to see and one I'm going to continue to talk to that I can think of off the top of my head. But I deleted like everybody else. And it's a good feeling to know that I said no. And before, like, if people would hit me up, like, I would just say yes. Like, I wouldn't scan the room or read the room right. Like, I wouldn't read it right. And I don't know. Another thing, if you're not ready, you're not ready for him or for yourself. And I wasn't ready to move. I was too sick the second time. And the first time, I just plain needed to be on my own first before I moved in with anybody. And that's a big thing too. And I just feel like I'm killing it. Like, I'm a girl boss right now. Like, I'm so proud of myself because I can afford this apartment and I have this new life designed for myself. Like, I built it for myself, and that's really empowering. Here's something. If it's a mess, be prepared to clean it up. Like, be careful in your relationships. The people you date, the people you bring in, you allow in, and I hope my makeup's not all crazy. But be prepared to clean it up. Like, it's on you, girl. Like, the things you do, your actions, your behavior, the things you let in, the things you do, like, you need to take responsibility. And I take full responsibility for my relationships. Like, I take the responsibility for how I've acted and how I've treated people and what I've done. And I've been hurt for it, but at least I took the responsibility. Sarcasm, I'm too sincere of a person. So I've learned through dating, like, some people just have a sarcastic attitude and personality, and that's fine, but it's not for me. Like, I'm too genuine and sincere of a person to do that. I just can't do it. And if I type, that's just because I'm doing a little check on what I've talked about so far. And then here's what my friend said. Kiwi, I love you. You're probably not watching this, but that's okay. If he did, he would. Like, insert that however you want to say it, however you want to phrase it. Like, just throw in some words. Like, if you say, okay, if he did, he would. Like, if he cared, he would do this. If he loved me, he would do this. If he, not to like put the person on a pedestal or not on a pedestal, like however you want to do that. Like, that's just to say, like, if he cares, he needs to show that he cares. He needs to show up for me, you know, and that's the other way around too, like guy to girl, girl to guy, or girl, girl, guy, guy. Anyway, can exes be friends? Can you have male friends? That's a question I've asked myself. I think I can do it. I almost told Chris off, not like that, but that's mean. But I sent him this long ass text and I was just like, I don't know if I can be just friends because this is too hard. But I kind of retracted it in a way and I corrected myself and I was like, we can be friends. I can do that. I would rather be his friend than not anything at all. You just have to go by what feels right for you. Like, if you can have a friend with benefits, if you can be friends to an ex, like, it's all how you view it. Like one, actually, we communicated and joked and talked a lot, but I just assumed he wanted kids and he didn't. And I found that out and I was like, oh, yo, bro, I'm so sorry, but like, this can't go on anymore. Like, we can still be friends, and we are, but I need to pursue a person that wants kids, that wants the same things that I want. So be open about communication and just talk about everything. Like, you need to ask questions, and I'm learning how to communicate better and how to ask more questions. And like, if it's bad or complicated now, it's probably only going to get worse. So if things are hard and harsh right now, sure, the sun can come out tomorrow, but like, you just got to be careful. There's just a few more thoughts. Let me see how much time. Okay, I'll stop in a couple minutes, maybe a few, maybe more. I personally, I don't know if it's because I'm soft-spoken or I'm quieter or I'm just very girly, I don't know, but I feel like most men don't respect me and that I attract red. Red as in, it's a personality trait. There's like the colors. There's red and white and blue and I think yellow. I think those are the four. But reds, I seem to really attract reds. I would say I've had two main boyfriends because they've been the most serious ones. I've had more casual boyfriends too, but like more sincere, like I love you type of people. Yeah, I attract red. I do. And sometimes they're sarcastic, sometimes they're big and loud and bold, sometimes they're quiet but bold. Like, that's just the people that come to me or the people that I attract. And I would love to meet a blue. I would love to date a blue. I never have, but a blue, I'm a blue and white. They're like very like, and this isn't to say that I am this way, not always, but they can be very like peaceful, quieter, calmer, soothing, chill, laid back, casual. That's kind of what a blue is like. And I just attract red. And I have to be careful because they can be really overbearing and overpowering, very controlling sometimes, not to say or speak ill of anything or anyone, but that's just what can happen, the tendencies that can happen and the patterns that can take place. So I confided in people, and it's hard because some of my friends are so pro my ex and some people are just not. And it's hard to gauge like who's right, who's wrong in the picture, but no one knows the story like I do. I know the full story. I know his side too. And so you want to confide in people and you want to share with people, like tell your friends and family about the people that you're dating, the people that you're seeing, the people that you meet, because you can learn so much and it's eye-opening for them to be able to share with you how they view this person. You don't have to say yes to everybody and you have the right to say no. There's this guy who hit me up off of Tinder, on Snapchat actually, because we like transferred from talking on Tinder to going on to Snapchat. Nice guy. He's cute redhead and everything, and he has a cute kid. I haven't met his kid. I've only seen him once. I've only met him once, and I just can't. I can't do it because he has a kid and because of his lack of communication. I didn't hear from him for like weeks, and then I finally get a hey, and I'm like, okay. So I said hi back, but then I was like, oh wait, actually I changed my mind. I'm done. So I'm no longer offended if people delete me or unfriend me or anything. I do that too now. I didn't realize that, but that's what I'm doing. And that's fine. So try and marry up. If you don't want to get married, you just want a lifelong, long-term partner. try and partner up, as in like you feel like you married above yourself, like you married amazingly well, and they feel the same way about you. Like if you view yourselves in that light, like each other, that's a beautiful thing. My sister Haley, I confided in her about my relationship, the last one, and she said, okay, just do a list. And that's funny because I already did, and I started this list of things that I don't like about the person and the red flags. And that's a huge thing. That's huge, because you have it all out there and your mind is spinning, racing with thoughts of what you do and do not like, you know. But the thing is, with the red flags in a person, we all have them, right? But if the red flags outweigh the green flags, the good things, you got to be careful. You need to figure out what's important to you, and you need to be fine with sleeping together early on. And that's something with Tinder, because Tinder is such a hookup app. That's just the vibe of it overall. And that's the one where I met most of the people. I haven't met anybody off of Tinder, off of Bumble. Bumble I'm using not for biz, not for dating, but I'm using it for BFF. They have 3 different ones. And I've met no girlfriends off of there yet. And I'm like, okay, well, I got Christy in Idaho Falls. At least I have one friend, you know? And it's just, it's hard to meet people. Like, ugh. But anyway, this is funny. My famous excuse is I met someone and they asked me to be their girlfriend. Like, if I want to stop talking to them, like, I want to let them down gently. I've done that to a few guys who have seemed like very pervy and just sexual, and people who would make me feel really small. I just, no. There was this one guy who was going to drive like 3 hours to see me, like, just for sex, and I was like, this is a red flag to me. I don't know. So yeah, I talked about see what your friends and family think. People are complicated, and that's why dating sucks. I stand by that. I told my guy friend that. He's one of the Tinder boys who I continue to see, and I'll continue to see until I meet somebody more serious. But dating sucks. He was ghosted by somebody who he wanted to pursue, as in like as a girlfriend, and he doesn't take that stuff as lightly as maybe somebody else. Like, it was a big deal for him to choose her, and she just ghosts him, you know? Like, people are complicated, and that's why dating sucks. It's the most important decision of your life. Who you marry, who you date becomes who you marry, and who you marry becomes your life. Like, it's so true. The people you date, expect to marry them, because that's the kind of person that you're going to marry. They turn into your spouse. And it's the most important decision you are ever going to make in your whole entire life, because they're always there. They're always around. They're in your life. They know everything about you. They're there with the things you do and do not do. Like, anyway. You have to compromise on some things, because there will always be red flags. I kind of already talked about that. But you just have to weigh and compare and contrast the green flags to the red flags. Friends with benefits, I talked about that. I personally don't mind that. I can handle it. Don't get offended if unfriended. I've talked about that. And I have an aunt. I want to share this, and then I should probably go. Yeah, because this is going to end soon. I love her. Her and I are so similar. Like, she will date crappy guys, and I have too. Not saying all of them have been crap, but they have crappy traits that have been hurtful to me. And so I love hard, and I get burned and used because of it. That's what's happened to me in the past. My aunt's like the same way. And it's just amazing to see how other people can be a lot like us in that way. But it's empowering to be single. Like, I'm going to enjoy this time, and I'm going to live my life this way. And it feels really, really good. And I think I talked about everything. And yeah, that was a lot. I wasn't expecting myself to share as much as I did, but I feel really good, and I hope I helped somebody or encouraged somebody or inspired somebody. But yeah, just be safe, be careful, do you. If you want to date, date. If you don't want to date, don't. Take a break if you need to. And no, it's not a race. It's not a race to get married or to date to people. You don't have to have a boyfriend or girlfriend to be happy. You don't have to have a person to be happy. You can be whole in yourself. My sister said, like, don't try to escape the arms you're in right now. Or, like, don't try to escape arms you're in right now to, don't go, don't run to new arms trying to escape the ones you're in right now. That could mean anything to anyone, but to me it meant a lot. And anyway, I'm going to end it here. I love you guys, and goodbye.